Let me tell you the story of how I came across this mid 2010 Mac Pro. Originally, I had been in the hunt to, get more involved with Mac OS 10 and just be more involved with Mac computers in general. I have been always into building custom PCs. I always dealt with AMD builds and Intel builds, but I had never really dived into Mac. And as we all know, Apple computers tend to not be the most upgrade friendly computers. They tend to be very sealed, and there's very little you can do with them. But the earlier Mac Pro, prior to the 2013 version, the trash can, those were notorious for being excellent machines. They use server grade quality components, and I was really interested in playing around with that since I had no experience. I had never done it. And so I decided that I would, be on the lookout for a Mac Pro. That was always simmering in the back of my head, trying to find a desktop computer that was from Apple. So I had this custom PC that I had built a while back, and I decided that I would try to sell it. On the ad, I used an app called Letgo, and on the ad, I put down that I was willing to trade for a Mac, or I would really willing to sell it cash. And so I got a hold of this university student at UC Davis, and he reached out to me. He said he wanted to look at the computer. I took the computer to him, and he wanted to trade me an Xbox, and some Xbox games, an older Xbox, like an Xbox 360, I believe it was. And he showed me this Mac that he had. He told me that he hadn't used it for over a year. He didn't know what was wrong with it. He wasn't very computer literate, and so it had just been collecting dust, and he had it in storage for the longest time. He tried turning it on for me, but it didn't work. And so he said, in the end, we didn't come into agreement with the PC, so I ended up not selling him the PC or trading it for him. But he let me keep the Mac Pro that he had, which is amazing, right? I took it home. Within the hour, I had the Mac Pro working. I knew exactly what was wrong with it. He just had a bad boot drive, and so I just reinstalled Mac OS. It's running Mac OS High Sierra. And so what an amazing find. I was so happy with it. The only problem with it was that it had this huge dent on the case, which I used a few clamps and I tried to kind of, remove it a little bit, but it still has that dent now. Minor issue. Let me give you some of the specs of this Mac Pro. This is like I said, mid 2010 Mac Pro. It comes with a 2.8 gigahertz quad-core Intel Xeon processor. Um, the processor again is running at 2.8 gigahertz. I believe this is the lowest end processor. It might be at W35 20 or something like that. But whoever was I don't believe that this or this student was the original owner of this Mac, because whoever the owner of this Mac originally was spent some money and some time on it. Originally, the Mac came with a Radeon HD 5770, which I replaced. I had a GTX 1050 Ti from a previous computer I had from NVIDIA. And I swapped that graphic card out. It did come with the full 16 gigabytes of memory. It is upgradable, so I believe that the 2010 Mac, I have to do a little bit more research on them, but I believe that the most that it will run, it's like 30 or 32, or it might be more than that. I believe if you swap out the CPU, then you can run higher memory speed on it and higher RAM. Right now, the memory is 16 gigabytes at 1066 megahertz DDR3 memory. Not bad at all. Whoever the previous owner had also installed a PCIe USB 3 hub, as well as a new PCIe RAID controller hard drive, and they installed a Fusion drive on it. It also had a 3 terabyte hard drive in it, as well as the original 1 terabyte hard drive that came with the Apple Mac Pro. So plenty of space on it. Whoever the previous owner was also had the backups still in, so he was backing up his computer onto he or she was backing up the computer onto that 3 terabyte hard drive. But then I wiped that clean. I didn't want that person's information on there. Right now the computer is running absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with it. I cleaned it out. I dusted it completely. And wow, what an amazing find. I'm going to continue to play with it, and I'll keep you updated as I do updates on this computer. I'm really happy with it, and I can't wait to delve more into the Apple ecosystem.